Hey guys, this is Will of TyBL and welcome back to my channel. I have been wanting to make this video for a long time ago but never had a chance to do it, but finally, this is the right time for it. Before anything else, I'd like to say that this video is only subjective based on my own understanding and perception on the following shows. This list may not be the same as yours, so you can write down your own on the comment section below. This list may also be incomplete as I try to watch other BLs that I haven't seen before or just came up recently. Anyway, if you live in a different country and some BL series are not available to yours, you can use ExpressVPN to watch those restricted series. Use the link on the description below to have 49% discount and 3 months free if you opt to avail the 12-month plan. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. It's already been 4 years since the first season aired, but Sotus is still one of the most talked BL in town. Sotus is undeniably one of the trendsetters when it comes to BL dramas. Since this series became famous both locally and internationally, some of the BL dramas that came after Sotus had a plot for engineering students. But that's not really the reason why it became a god-tier BL for me. It's all about the plot, the chemistry of the characters, and the overall production, to say the least. Sure that there are already other BL series that could match or even surpass it nowadays, but it's still one of the best ever made. There's quite a few people who find this series boring, but it all boils down to the personal preferences. This BL is one of the most unique story I've ever seen in the last 2 years. We have always wanted to see a show that will really touch our hearts, and GMM gave this to us. It was quite sad that this series was only shown initially locally in Thailand, but 2020 is really quite surprising. According to some Twitter fans, GMM TV uploaded the whole series in their YouTube channel together with English subtitles. That makes it more accessible to everyone who haven't watched it yet, so you better do it now. The story of He's Coming to Me is an intriguing one, to be honest. I have never thought that loving a ghost would be this beautiful if imagination becomes wild. Of course, that won't be true in real life because their presence really scares me. Both Om and Singto made their best in this series, and it's evident in every episode. Theory of Love is my #1 BL series of 2019 based on my last ranking video including the BLs released in 2019, and that's the reason why I included it here. I have seen quite a few good BL series lately, but there's always a BL that will remain in your heart because it's relatable, and that's why this BL is in here. Well, one-sided love isn't entirely a new thing, but couple it with the acting of Afghan and that would really be a good BL. Sometimes, it's not always who has the most unique and complicated story, but it's how you manipulate a real life situations into a fiction and make it impactful. Clearly, this BL is not the best in terms of everything, but it has something that makes it special. God's list of BLs is not complete without Until We Meet Again. It really has one of the best stories and climax out there. The complexity of this BL is always on the roof, but one thing that is clear throughout the whole series, and that is love. From the first scene of the first episode until the very last scene of episode 17, it always talked about love in many different ways, whether it's sad or a happy one. Some people would say that this BL is boring and all it had to do was crying in every episode, but it's part of the story. That technique was used to amplify the love of Cornyn from the past and also of Dean Farm of the future. It's not there just to make it more dramatic, but to make it realistic despite the heavy fiction of the plot. Anyway, this BL will always be one of the legendary BLs for me. I can see some eyebrows raising just by seeing the title of Tharntype in this video, but I guess it's actually good. I'm not downplaying some toxic actions in the series and I always condemn those every now and then, but sometimes reality is just too cruel and this is close to that. We are always thriving for a better world, but we can't deny the fact that a perfect world is not the reality. This BL has its shortcomings when it comes to the characters, but the overall story is good, especially towards the end. It's far from perfect, but that's what makes the characters more human. If I'm going to rank everything in this list, this BL will be in the first place. This BL sets the bar higher than every BL that comes before it. This is the most polished BL I have ever seen since I started watching BL dramas. The cinematography is top notch and no one comes close to that. The production is also one of the best. From the picture quality up to the stabilization of every scene, it's the best I have ever seen. The plot is also incredible and amazing. The actors are all superb. This is the masterpiece we have been waiting to see since the very beginning, and it's now finally here. It needs no complex plot twist like the others would talk about. This is so pure that it touches both my heart and soul. One of the very first BL that I have seen in my entire life, and it's quite good. To be honest, it's been a long time since I have watched this and I barely remember the whole plot of the series. It's just sad that this BL was stopped in production when it gained too much attention. But nevertheless, this BL is one of the trendsetters along with Sotus. I already talked about this BL quite a few times already, but this is worth mentioning in this list and it's still relevant in 2020. Given that the plot is unusual, it's surprising that this BL gained a lot of attention internationally. Well, it's evident with the brilliant storyline and also with their acting. The main reason why I really love Gameboys is the incorporation of both fiction and real life into one. This BL found a way to connect to my soul and I found myself both crying and laughing in every episode. I can't say so much about the production since this was filmed inside their own house, but the acting is one of the best even with their setup. This list won't be complete without my most favorite Filipino BL for 2020. If we are going to talk about how depth this BL is, then we need all the time to discuss everything. This BL is actually unique not in terms of the main story but because of its characters. I love the characters and at the same time, I also hate them with some of their actions. Anyway, I already done a review on this one, so if you want to know more of my insights about this BL, then you can check it on the link below. This BL is the first Korean BL I have seen and I already imagine the potential of other upcoming Korean BLs from the future because of this one. Korean dramas have always been quality shows in every aspect and I also want it for their own BLs. The only downside for this BL is how short it is, but it's still effective as a show. The acting of both actors is also good if you would ask me, but the thing that amazes me between the two is their chemistry. Life Love on the Line is the very first Japanese BL I have watched and I already fell in love with it. The plot is kinda good to be honest and it's quite unique to my taste. The characters have so much depth as the episode progresses. Just like with Where Your Eyes Linger, this BL is kinda short too, but the important thing is it conveyed the story on a proper way. you may start asking by now why I didn't include Taiwan's history series and Japan's cherry magic. The thing is, I haven't watched them yet and I'm trying to do it by this month. I already saw some pretty good spoilers for the history series, most especially Make Our Days Count with its ending, and I don't know if I'm going to be alright with it. I'm also waiting for the availability of Cherry Magic and WeTV to support the said series. Anyway, a lot of other people are saying that these series are also got here, so I decided to include them here. Just like what I have said, this list is subjective and it's only from my own perspective and opinion. You can also share your own insights on the comment section below, but please maintain the respect with anyone. I may keep updating this list from time to time if more and more quality BLs will be released in the next few months. Thank you for watching. That's it, and see you on the next one.